Bonsoir. Oh, you didn't understand? Sorry. That was French for hello and good evening. Isn't it interesting to learn new things, especially now during the lockdown, when we otherwise have so less work? And what better way to learn than meeting new people? Understanding this, we at Kidzpreneur have come up with the KidzLive initiative, where you all can meet new people and keep yourself engaged by learning new things. So welcome to yet another episode of KidzLive. Today we have with us Shishir and Prashant. So Shishir is the co-founder of Kidzpreneur. He's a serial entrepreneur, technology proponent who believes technology will touch our lives in future in never thought before ways. He has executed some of challenging technology solutions for government and enterprises alike. He has a vision to transform the education sector in ways not thought before, and Kidzpreneur is just a start for him. Welcome, Shishir.
Thank you, Aditi. Thanks for the introduction.
We also have Prashant with us. Prashant is an entrepreneur and coder who did his graduation in computer science engineering from Uttar Pradesh Technical University. Soon after completing his graduation, he started his business, Nativebyte Softwares LLP, a technology company which provides solutions and product development startup. In 2016, he also co-founded another startup which was Weekend Works Private Limited, which is an on-demand scrap collection service. Along with that, he's also associated with Startup Leadership Program. Welcome, Prashant.
Thank you, Aditi.
So, Prashant, this series that we have is a little, child focused. So, why don't you share something about your childhood with us before we begin with our serious questions?
Oh wow! I mean that's a really good question. And when I start speaking about it, people get really confused. The thing is, my father was an army person. He was in army, and I moved, I think, 6 or 7 schools in 12 years, from class first to class 12. And I have been to, I have stayed in Nabha, which is in Punjab. I've stayed in Kanpur, Goa, Darjeeling, Siliguri, Lucknow. I mean, you name the place, I've been to that part of the country. So it's been really fun while I was a kid. Not so much fun now, but yeah, I still try to take out as much fun as possible wherever it's there.
So the exposure that we are expecting here on the web, you've had that in the live world, meeting new people very quickly.
Yeah. So one interesting part was about moving so many places together was that when you go to a new school, you have to establish the reputation that you had in the previous school. I was a good student, I would say. I used to stand between position 1 to 5 anywhere. And whenever I moved schools, I had to make sure that I regain my reputation. So I had to redo everything, all the work that I had done. So that gave me a habit of critically analyzing things as to what did I do good in the previous school, or what did I do bad in the previous school. Of course, that was also good in some way, that I could go away with the problems that I had in previous schools and start afresh every couple of years. So that's something that made me a critical analyzer of things early in my childhood.
So we believe we have a very experienced problem solver and critical thinker here with us, who is going to help us with so many questions today.
Prashant is one of the smartest critical mind I have been with. We have done so much work together. We are doing some good work as a team, and he's one of the sharpest mind when technology is concerned. So yeah, I think that sums up his entire talent around technology itself.
That's great to know, sir. We hope we have a good time with him, trying to extract all that knowledge that he has and sharing with all of us. So when we start talking about you and your career till now, there's this one thing that that strikes our mind. There's this initiative that you have, Weekend Works, where you were associated with the scrap collecting runners, where you connected them technologically. So, as we know, most of the scrap collecting runners are poor and do not have that access to technology that we have. So, how did you manage to overcome this obstacle?
So when we initially started Junk Art, that was in 2016. It was actually end of 2015, December, and then when we started, uh, we realized my co-founder Neeraj and I and Shubham, another co-founder, we were brainstorming about how to go to the market and maybe how to understand the space. The thing that really worked out was going to the scrap vendors and talking to them. I mean, that's the only thing that we could have done to get it right. And talking to them made us realize that so many conceptions that we had about the scrap collectors, the runners, was wrong. So many ideas that we have as a society about this strata of society is probably wrong and misplaced. They are extremely good at learning new things. They are extremely organized, as in we might realize or we might feel that, hey, the kabadi walas are not so organized, but it's a very efficient machinery, I can tell you. It's a very efficient machinery which takes scrap right from our households and puts it back to the recycling in, factories, right? So it's a elegant piece of work that is being done out there. And we realized that only by talking to the kabadi walas. We went to shops, we sat with the kabadi walas, we हमने चाय पी साथ में, पकौड़े खाए साथ में. I mean, that kind of time we had to spend so that we could understand where they are coming from and what would it take to adapt them to the technology. We realized that there are probably two segments of users in that strata. One is who have been into that space for more than 20 or 30 years, right? Whose age is probably above 50 years. They might not be that receptive to technology, but the newcomers or the youngsters were very much receptive to technology. They had already been using WhatsApp, so we created small videos and sent it across to them, the demo videos, and we sent them the link for Junkart app, and we also translated the vendor app in Hindi, so that they have a small app on which they can receive requests and they can accept or reject the request. And I mean, they get all the details from there itself, right? So they were very efficient in picking that up. We taught a few of them how to use the app and how to work or talk to the customer, how to dress properly, all that, the basic hygiene and stuff. And they were extremely good at picking it up. Then they eventually started teaching their fellows as well, right? So it's something that they automatically start taking up, and it's a momentum that you just need to push a little, and it continuously starts rolling by itself. You just need to understand the mindset of your user base. That's all.
So I think what learning that we get from this story of yours is that we should never judge a book by its cover. We should try to know the person.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we should try to know the person better and then form a judgment about that person. So that's really great.
Absolutely. Yeah.
We all
Knowing the customer is first and foremost important thing that any entrepreneur should do.
I think that's because we do so much research and development before starting off with anything new, because it is the main thing that's going to help us in the long run.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That's great. And I
There's
think
no
this is
shortcut to it.
yeah, there's no shortcut to hard work. And I think that's the only learning that, we are getting from all the new people that we are meeting every day.
Yep.
Yeah. So, sir, we also know that you're associated with the Startup Leadership Program as a fellow. How do you think does
Mm-hmm.
SLP as a community works, and how does it help a person in their business?
So see, whenever somebody starts a business or whenever somebody tries to take off, there has to be an ecosystem around the person or around the startup that he's trying to build in order to ensure that he succeeds. Or in case, unfortunately, he does not succeed, he should have a fallback. He should, or the person should have a community from where he could learn, he could go back, share his findings. I mean, uh, to me, when I started, there was no such community I could interact to. There were not many people in my network who were entrepreneurs. I mean, me and my co-founders were on their own. And then somebody told me about startup leadership. And initially, I was a little hesitant whether I should, because there's a fees also which one needs to pay when joining SLP. But trust me, when I took a leap of faith after interacting with a few entrepreneurs who are part of the community, and the value SLP gave me is tremendous. It's not just the monetary transactions that you get just by being friends with some of the best known people in the industry or sharpest minds that you might have access to, but it's also because it grows you so much as a person. I mean, I didn't had an MBA degree. I knew nothing about user researches. I knew nothing about how to conduct my value propositions. I knew nothing about pitches, right? So I could have wasted so many years doing that and learning on my own. And on the other hand, I could have joined, which I actually did. I joined SLP and learned it from the best who are doing that in and out every day, right? So it's a peer-to-peer community wherein you learn from your peers. There are mentors that you can identify within the community. You can interact with them as friends. Shishir and I have been really good friends for Shishir, how many years? 3 years, right? 3 or 4
4
years.
years.
And it's never been like.
We were in same batch.
Yes,
We met in
yes.
a
So correct. So I just lost count of or track of years. It feels like ages now, right? So you get this support community. You get to learn about strategies. You get to learn about pitching. You get to learn about technology. You can actually find co-founders there, right? Some of our batchmates together started their business, right? So it's a whole ecosystem which comes together to support you, and that's the most important thing that you can find as an entrepreneur. Trust me on that.
Absolutely.
So those are great views. Now, as you belong to the technology background, we have one technology related question like that I think, people like you can only answer. Technology is something that we use very frequently these days, especially now during the COVID-19 pandemic, when we all are locked inside our houses. All the business meetings and everything, they all, take place via this technology only. So, do you think there are any negative effects, like negative impacts of this technology that we are using so frequently and have, completely imbibed in our lives?
Yeah. So I believe there's a lot of negative things around this. First and foremost is that we don't have access to our own yards, right? I mean, you can't go out of your home and maybe take a walk. That's very difficult now. So I believe physical fitness has been hit the most. As a child or as a kid, what I would have missed the most is playing out there in the playground, right? Although I'm not really sure whether many kids do that, but that's one thing that people should definitely do. They should, if it's not COVID, of course, the rider is there. They should definitely go out and interact with a lot of people. I was initially an introvert, and eventually, after starting as an entrepreneur, I had to do sales, I had to do marketing, I had to talk to customers. So I sort of became people's people. I could talk to people easily, right? That's again something that SLP taught me, and I realized that until you go out and try to do things on your own, it's very difficult to get value of the things or understand the points from where it's coming from, right? Technology might cripple us in terms of our thought processes. There are a whole lot of industries which depend on us going out and doing the work. I am a person of supply chain now. I have worked for a while in logistics, building my own logistics platform, Fleetix. So I realized that the people who are into supply chain, they have to go out and they have to do the deliveries or do the pickups or do the movements physically, right? So there's no technology to solve it. the technology can only facilitate such transactions. I mean, the whole industry, manufacturing industry, a lot of services and sales and marketing industries, construction industry has been brought on hold, right? So COVID has very deeply impacted that. There's no solution around it as of now, unless the vaccine, which I mean, I'm no expert, but I still believe it's at least 6 months or 1 year down the line, right? So the economy is crashing very badly, and unless things or unless we get good news from our doctors, our researchers, it's going to be a grim situation, right? So technology is trying to push it, trying to ensure that the economy continues, but again, it can only do so much.
That's great to know,
It's
sir.
been a strong enabler, and I think that's what technology is doing at its best right now.
And I think technology is the only thing that's, motivating us to keep going, because it is the only source of entertainment, as we say, which is left with us while we are inside our houses, the only source of learning, entertainment. So I believe we have to go with this only. So you are a computer science engineer, as we know. So how and when did you decide that you have to pursue this as your profession, as your career?
So my elder cousin, he gifted me a computer back in class 10th, I think. I was a good student, and as soon as I was a good computer student as well, I knew that I had to do something of my own, maybe later in my life. But I never realized earlier that I'll be a computer guy. So when my brother gifted me this computer, I got hooked onto it, and I took computer sciences in my class 12th options, along with physics, chemistry, math. And I really enjoyed programming in C language, which was taught to us in our school. Fortunately, I had extremely good teachers. I was a KV student, Kedri Vidyalaya student, and the teachers we had there were extremely good. I mean, they taught us as if they knew everything about computers, and they could tell us the basics with utmost patience, right? So I was good at imagining things. So I imagined half of the wrong things on my own, and tried to build this Nokia Snake game on my own while I was in class 12 as my final year project. And a lot of my friends laughed at me, but my teacher really helped me a lot on that. And by end of class 12, I could build that game. I was able to create a game which you could play with your keyboard. It was the same Snake game that you played in your Nokia phones, if you have played at all. I'm not really sure how many this generation kids would remember or recognize that game, but that was a really interesting game, and that actually got me started with computers. I mean, I went really deep into it, and when I started and when I passed out from my school, I realized that I had to pursue computer sciences. I had to do something in computers only. I still didn't know what exactly, but I had determined. And by the time, computers also deteriorated my studies a little. I mean, my academics went down a little. I could not score that much in math, especially. Chemistry was horrible for me. I was really afraid of chemistry. So I focused on one thing that I could do extremely well, which was computer sciences. And I then gave Uttar Pradesh Technical University's entrance exam, and I luckily got good marks in that. And when during my counseling is a process when you choose which college you want to join, right? And it depends on the competition and the offers that you get from colleges. So when I went there, I was getting certain government colleges also in other streams other than computer sciences. But I was so damn sure that I had to take computer sciences that in the counseling, I filled for against every college. I filled that I want computer sciences only. The person who was helping me with the filling up the form also laughed at me, but I said, "Boss, ये मेरे को पता है मुझे यही करना है." And the college of which is a good college. I am proud of my college also. So, and then again, it was a lot of self-learning, a lot of learning from my friends, a lot of learning from my teachers, and most importantly, I decided to take internships early on in my graduation. And internships are something which actually tell you, internships are like on-job training. You don't get a job, but you get to work with a company on real projects. So I got a couple of internships simultaneously with the startup Info Assembly and a large enterprise, ST Microelectronics. So I worked at both the internships simultaneously and got some good exposure, got good hands-on, and yeah, I mean that's what got me hooked into this entire ecosystem.
So as we see, this was your passion that, drove you to computer science engineering.
Yes, to some extent, yes. Initially, and then eventually, I became obsessed with solving problems for people using whatever tech skills I had in computers, and that's what has brought me here now.
And as we, can understand from your story, we should never suppress the ideas of the kids. We should always let them imagine what they can do, and we should always support them instead of saying, you cannot do this. That's the one inspiration
Definitely.
that I get from your story.
Absolutely. So one thing that I'm really get pissed off is when somebody tells a kid or anybody for that matter is that yeah, ye mat karo, it might spoil your career. I mean, if somebody is trying to do something, let him do that. Nobody can spoil your career. Whatever you do, no matter whatever you do, nobody is there who can spoil your career. The only thing that can spoil your careers are the bad habits. Maybe I'll not name the things, but I mean, you get it, right? So unless you fall into those traps, whatever you are trying to do related to your academics, related to your passion, I mean, it's only going to teach you something, which at the end is going to take you somewhere. You'll not end up baffled between choices which are forced upon you. You will end up doing something which you have thought of, and the world will strive to bring it to you. I mean, just keep on trying. It's the only thing that you can do, and the world can afford. Otherwise, there's no way the world can run.
That's great.
कहते हैं ना कि अगर हम गिरना नहीं सीखते तो चलना भी नहीं सीखते. So I think that failures are so important. Both
Yes,
for kids
absolutely.
as well as
Girna is really important.
you've seen both sides yourself as well.
Yes, sir, rightly said. So moving on, we see when we are, at the point when we have to choose our career, there are many people who, take a career because it is very common, or maybe it is very much in the talk. Just as when I was, in my 12th standard, there were people who just, wanted to do computer science engineering blindly. They had no goals for it, but because everybody is doing it, it's in the market, they all wanted to do it. What would be your suggestion to such people? And do you think it is right?
Yeah, see, so I have eventually understood that there are two categories of people. There's one category who understand or who realize that they have to do certain things, and the other category is still figuring out. I mean, there's nothing wrong with being still in a zone where you are figuring out whether it's right or wrong for me, and you might not be able to decide based on the data points that you have. Decision making is always a factor of two things. It's always a factor of your information about the world, the state of the world that you understand, and your inner gut, right? So at times your inner guts and the data points that you have, which is your community, your parents, your peers, they might be in conflict, and you might not be able to decide whether it's a right step or wrong step. And if you choose something just because everyone else is doing that, that's all right. Until you fall a trap to the problem, fall a trap to the entire situation, and keep on doing whatever society is telling you forever, right? At certain point, you must stand up for yourself and realize that it might be wrong that I'm trying to do, but because my inner gut feeling is saying that this is right, I must do that. That is so important. That is so important that it will save you lots of years. It will save you lots of frustration and lots of effort. Just go ahead with whatever vibe you have. Don't fall trap to fears that peer pressure or parental pressure. Try to take your own path. I mean, that's what I have done so far with my fair share of failures. I would still not say that I'm a very successful person, but yes, I have been able to do what I have been wanted to do. No matter what my peers said, no matter what my parents said, no matter what everybody else said. Right. So I'm happy that I could pursue whatever I wanted. At the end, if you are happy with whatever you are doing, you are going to be successful sooner or later.
Well said.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Sorry to interrupt you.
That's okay. I just wanted to say one thing.
Okay. So, yeah, as we understood from your advices, like it's not wrong to, choose a career if you are not sure of doing it the right thing, like if it's the right thing for you or not. But it's the experimentation that you should continue with till you know what's the best for you. So that's great. And I think
So
all the kids, yes, sorry, sir.
yeah, I remember one story. I read this story when I was in probably class 11th or 12th. There was, it's not actually a story, it's a fact. A professor, the head of department of MIT, Massachusetts Institute of Technology, he was an Indian of Indian origin. He did his graduation in art. He later on went to do a master's in economics and did his PhD in computer sciences, and eventually became head of department for Massachusetts Institute of Technology Computer Sciences department. Right. So there's no wrong choices. It's only different choices that you can make. There's no wrong choices that you can make ever, as long as you are learning from it.
So I think it's a great learning for for all of us, in fact. There are no wrong choices. They're just different choices, as you just said. So, before we close, I'm done with all the questions that I had. Before I go out with my questions, there's just one thing I want to know. Like, is there any message that you would like to give the kids out there?
Yeah. So it's COVID times. I can't ask you to go out and play your hearts out. Although I would have said that otherwise. But in these situation, I think the best thing that you could do is learn as much as possible. Watch on YouTube, watch on other platforms, educational platforms. I mean, education is literally free today. There's nothing which is stopping you to learn the things that you have always wanted to. And there's no career that you can't take up. Everything is up for a grab. All you need to do is put in effort, put in some sacrifice, or it would not even be a sacrifice if you are really enjoying what you are doing. Right? So just go out and experiment. There's nothing which is stopping you from achieving something. There's no barrier in today's world. If you have a smartphone and you have internet, you can literally achieve anything.
That's great, and I hope the kids out there follow your advice and make the best use of this time for themselves. So, Shishir, do you have anything to speak before we end the session?
I think it's nice hearing Prashant here with us. We know each other for the last 4.5 years, and we have gone through various phases of our associationship to friendship to now a lot of work together. And I started with that earlier. His best mind as far as technology is concerned. उसके problem के solution भी उसके अपने unique होते हैं. And that's what I think the concept of Kidzpreneur is all about. To let them give a choice to create new solutions of their own. And absolutely right when Prashant said that education is absolutely free today. So nobody is stopping your learning. Learning should never stop, and that's the very essence of Kidzpreneur. So that's my message for kids out there. Yes, you can't go out, but you can definitely learn something which you enjoy, something which you like to do. Don't worry about what others are saying. Just learn that thing and come out as well.
So I think those were some very great advices and messages that we got from the both of you today. I would like to thank you a lot, Prashant, for joining us today for this session and, sparing time from your schedule to enlighten us with all the views and the stories that you have. Thank you, Prashant.
Thank you, Aditi. Thank you, Aditi. Thank you, Shishir.
Thank you, Shishir, for
all
sparing
the best.
us.
All the best, everyone. Take care.
Thank you so much. So before we end today's session, I would like to thank all of you for joining us for this session. These testing times under the COVID-19 situation have created a vacuum and forced us to face times that we had never dreamt of. Engaging kids has become quite an effort who are forced to stay inside their homes 24/7. This Kids Life initiative, like many other, may help you in keeping your child engaged. Stay tuned, join us at 5:30 p.m. every day for such engaging sessions. Thank you.